In the name of Allah God, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God. And I bear witness that Abraham, that Moses, that Jesus, and that Muhammad are his messengers. We thank him for his goodness and for his mercy to the human family. We thank him for his prophets and the scriptures that they revealed. We thank him for the many men and women who have stood in the cause of justice to secure peace, freedom, justice, and equality for the entire human family. We thank him for this opportunity to join those that have been involved in that struggle, and it's in the names of these righteous servants that I greet you with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. How's everyone this afternoon? We are certainly honored by your presence and greatly blessed to know that in 2010 that there are people like yourselves that have committed yourselves to the call of justice and have made justice your pastime. We thank you for your presence, and we are greatly privileged to continue in the journey toward justice. As we know, over a year ago now, our town halls were launched and given purpose by the untimely, unfortunate, and unexpected murder of Oscar Grant III. His family, with us at nearly every one of our town halls, to support our efforts to ensure that not only is justice served for Oscar, but that the system of justice would reflect that which would be most pleasing to God in its treatment of the human family. And so for over a year now, every Saturday afternoon, we have been privileged to gather together to continue our organizational efforts and in our efforts to make sure that our community is properly educated on the issues. The system that we live in, called democracy, wherein, in theory, the people are represented by representatives who have as their concerns the concern of the masses of the voters. Unfortunately, in order for the masses of the voters to effectively participate, the masses of the voters must also be effectively educated on the issues. We have, over the last year, involved ourselves in many places in this struggle. And no matter how prominent issues are, unfortunately, there are still many people who are entirely unaware of the failing systems that are all around us. I have, like many of you do, a t-shirt bearing Oscar Grant's picture and name. And without fail, in wearing that shirt in public places, coffee shops, restaurants, shopping malls, I'm asked by people that one would think know who Oscar Grant is. Once they realize that my name is not Oscar Grant, they will come along and ask, well, who is Oscar Grant? Well, this simply is a sign that as California suffers and people endure pain, many times we have no idea of where the pain that we feel is coming from. Mm-hmm. And when in pain, we can sometimes become selfish about that pain. So you hear it from people all the time that might involve themselves in a life of hustle or a life of crime, and you hear the young man or young woman say, I got to get mine. Well, that is because personally we have suffered, and we have yet to connect the dots to realize that our suffering is not an accident. Our suffering is really quite systematic. When we consider the legacy of slavery in America, the enslavement of my great-grandmother was not an accident, because Brother Wilson's great-grandmother was likely a slave. Brother Carlton's great-grandmother was likely a slave. Brother Alonzo's great-great-great-grandmother was likely a slave. We just met each other here in Oakland. Is that true?
Right.
So the fact that all of our foreparents had a common struggle, even though we just met each other in Oakland, simply suggests that, as we are clear, our enslavement was no accident. It's not just an incidental relationship. It is, in fact, by design and by plan. And from that time to this, the suffering of those that have been oppressed in America has always been by design. And so I'd like to invite some other of our activists to give us some opening thoughts this afternoon, because these designs that have left us to suffer are now being found in various systems. We were speaking a few moments ago, and Brother Wilson was telling me about what's being called the new Jim Crow. And our friend Cam, who invited us to the student rally a few weeks ago that was held in downtown Oakland, there are weekly meetings being held now at Laney College among student activists to try to secure justice for themselves. Some may have realized that just a few days ago, a court has now ordered the University of California system to return $38 million in tuition money to students who were made to bear the brunt of some political shenanigans. Now, I'm sure whenever they agreed to increase the tuition in the amount that would collect $38 million, I'm sure they didn't ask the students what they thought. So I have now a personal interest because I have a son that's in college, and I'm not willing to bear the extra $38 million, and neither is he. But the reality is that the students were never asked. As we are looking at it right now, the state, the county, the cities are in tremendous trouble. I was reading in the Final Call newspaper, the newest edition, that covers news from around the country. And in a particular article that deals with education, it begins to outline, let me get the title of the article. It's called Education Costs Skyrocket, Students Protest. It's coverage of the national protest of students, but in the conclusion of the article, it deals with the state of California, where we live. And in it, it says the California, however, leads the country in public education cuts. Have you heard the expression, as go California, so goes the country? Well, we're looking at it right now. It says the California state system lost 1/5 of its state funding over the last 2 fiscal years, a $625 million reduction, and students have absorbed a 32% tuition increase this year. The system's 48,000 employees took a 10% pay cut through furloughs, not working 2 full days per month across the board. The system is cutting 20,000 students this year. The state system includes 10 campuses of the University of California and California State University's 23 campuses and 112 community college campuses. In a statement, California State Chancellor Charles B. Reed said, the university, quote, supports the efforts of our students, faculty, and staff to bring awareness about the importance of higher education in California. It is critical that legislators in Sacramento hear from business and the community about the importance of the CSU. The California community colleges alone serve 2.9 million students. The community college system has handed $520 million in cuts. That's a big cut. The community college system has handed down $520 million in cuts, or 8% of its budget. It is estimated that the system is serving 200,000 underfunded students, and thousands are being turned away from oversubscribed and unavailable classes. That child you hear is wondering about his future. That's what you're hearing.
Yes.
He and we are concerned.
Yes.